Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local
professional
business
commercial
talk show
lender
with your host,
and banker
Ryan
at Mountain
McNeice.
West Bank,
Business Talks
and
is
a
brought
young
to you by
professional
our friends
here
at
in our community.
STCU.
And I mention that because we've talked a bit about the fact that there is a changing dynamic here in our community. Talk to us about that in terms of the Spokane market and the banking world and professional world.
Sure, absolutely. You know, we're in a kind of an exciting time right now within the business community, and one of the fun things that I get to see is that natural attrition that is beginning to happen in the business community, where you have some of the baby boomers and older folks that have been, you know, staples around town in the various industries starting to age out and retire, or looking towards retirement. And right now I get to work with all the young professionals that are starting to come up and you know, take those leadership roles and everything.
That are interested in these positions and moving up into the managerial positions in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Give us a little idea of it's a competitive market out there.
Yeah.
And your background is not only in high school but also at the collegiate level in athletics. How would you relate the competition, the competitive spirit, not only in you but also within the business community, compare and contrast between collegiate athletics and in banking? Yeah,
I mean, it's very true. You have to be competitive in both. I love getting out there and competing for a deal and ultimately winning the opportunity to take care of those clients or business or whatever it is. You know, for me, it's, you know, doing some research, some preparation, trying to learn the industry, learn a little bit about the business, and trying to make those connections and relate. From the collegiate standpoint, I mean, it's hours of preparation, whether it's, you know, lifting weights or training or whatever it is. So I really think that the success, it comes in the preparation. So
well, and you just mentioned even before the show that a particular transaction or deal might take several months, year, etc., which would be similar to preparing for the game or the event that oftentimes the work is done behind the scenes. So
I mean, a specific transaction, ones that we've worked on in the past, you might get introduced to the client, you know, 2 months ago, and we're still working to complete the transaction and fine-tune and get everything done. So it's almost like the off season, you know, doing all of the
necessary
the prep work and getting everything together, checking all the boxes, making sure that the final product is right. So
what areas do you mostly focus on or enjoy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously you enjoy working with everybody, but where I've really targeted and spent a lot of time trying to network and market to, it's the medical community, the dental community, and then just kind of professional service, so the CPAs and the attorneys, and trying to fit in and be a good partner with all of those industries. I mean, obviously we have a wonderful medical community in Spokane and one that's growing, but you know, we have the law school and you know, the different schools that are starting to settle in Spokane and trying to partner with all of those. So it just seemed like a natural fit to try to get into those industries and work with those professionals.
Well, and I think you've done that, and compliments to you, I believe, is it the Catalyst magazine 40 Under 40, or is it that you were recently in that?
20 Under 40,
there
I
you
think
go.
Is what it was. Or
I gave him
like
40
that.
Under 40. But,
yeah, I appreciate that.
But 20 Under 40, so to be in that category, and as you're indicating, to be to have an opportunity to network within the professionals, whether it be CPAs, attorneys, healthcare industry, you have obviously put yourself out there, and that's being recognized. That's got to be an advantage to acquiring new business relationships and new business.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you're able to market and network with those types of people and the right types of people, and you get a little bit of recognition along the way, it makes those introduction's a little bit easier.
Tell me about, obviously, your employer, Mountain West Bank. Give me a little bit of the origin or background to Mountain West Bank.
Yeah, so Mountain West Bank was founded in Coeur d'Alene 1993. So we just celebrated our 25-year anniversary at the bank. And Mountain West Bank we are a community bank, but we're part of the Glacier Bank Corp family of banks.
That was my understanding.
Yeah,
okay.
So there's several other smaller banks that roll up under Glacier. And really what that does for me as a banker, is I get to go out and be really nimble and be really creative and proactive in getting deals done, because my decision makers sit in Coeur d'Alene. They're a phone call away. They know who I am. They know the clients. They're in the communities that we do business. But we have the backing of Glacier, which is a $11 billion bank. So we can go and rate and compete and price deals competitively and compete against the bigger banks.
There's a couple of points, Adam, that you just mentioned there that I think are very important, and people do hear a lot, but I don't know if they fully understand. Two things you said: the decision-making process. You're not, for example, having to call San Francisco or New York or Dallas to get approval on a particular local deal. That is a big deal in the professional world in terms of getting local decision-making.
Yep.
And a second piece you indicated is the resources of the bank. Again, people hear that, and I think it's a bit of a cliche that we have the resources to accomplish this.
Yeah.
But banks that don't have the resource, you see that actually become a prominent issue, because you can finance and fund the types of deals you're describing here today, the medical professionals, attorneys, CPAs, et cetera.
Yep.
I think that's a big piece.
Right.
Big piece.
To be able to get them done quickly and efficiently, because, as you know, time is money.
Right.
And when there's a need, you need to be able to respond very proactively and get those resources to the clients.
Is Glacier, is it out of Whitefish, or is it?
It's out of Kalispell.
Kalispell.
Yep.
Okay, well, there's a nice area to be in.
I know.
Well, that combination is interesting, having the Coeur d'Alene and the Montana aspects of the business.
Yeah.
What do you find most challenging about commercial banking? We could talk about, and will talk about a lot of the positives and relationship building and interactions, I think, with the professionals you mentioned. But with that, there are challenges to every industry. What would you say some of those are?
I mean, challenges that come to mind are you have a deal and it just, for whatever reason, it won't come together quite as quickly as you might want it to, things that are completely out of your control. That's something that you try to nurse these things along. The other thing, Spokane is there's a lot of banks here. There's a lot of credit unions, and we're still really competitive. There's a lot of folks going after the same business, the same deals. We're a pretty small community. So when deals come along, a lot of times you have 2, 3, sometimes even 4 other banks that are wanting
in
that
essence bidding on the same
piece of
which
business.
Circles back to what you were just mentioning, the competitive spirit, the networking, the relationships. What is some of the competitive advantage or disadvantage between a credit union and a bank the size of Mountain West?
The credit unions have, I'll be the first to say the Numericas and STCUs and some of the Globals and whatnot, they've done a really good job of coming in and pouring a lot of resources back into the community. You see them sponsor everything. And they're not regulated quite the same as banks are, so sometimes they can get a little more creative with terms and how they structure a deal. That's definitely a competitive advantage that they might have. But from a banking standpoint, we definitely have the horsepower to to maybe go after bigger deals.
Right.
And
that's true.
So that's one piece of it. With Glacier, for example, being such a strong parent company to us, we can get skinny on a deal if we need to, if it's the right deal.
Tell me, in terms of putting deals together, I know personally you have a great team around you, and the individuals that you work with at Mountain West Bank. Tell me how working within that team, again, we could throw that back to a bit of a sports analogy, but the team is important, let's face it. Tell me how in your specific scenario, how working with your team can benefit putting the deal together and building the relationships.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I might get the initial call or the initial introduction. It's my job to go out and make sure the deal is there, kind of do the fact-finding mission, if you will,
Right.
and figure out what the ask is, what we're looking to do. At that point in time, we collect all the financials, all the data. I can talk through with my team lead or, the folks over in Coeur d'Alene if we need to, and say, yeah, this is definitely something that we want to move forward with. And then at that time...
But again, that's what you mentioned earlier. You can get from A to B on whether it can move forward quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We can get from, if I have a meeting in the morning, we can get to, well, as soon as we get the financial package together and move forward, we can say, yeah, we're ready to move and underwrite this thing pretty darn quickly. So there's not a lot of layers that we have to go through.
No, I agree with you, Adam. Pragmatically, that is a big piece. On both ends. You'd also mentioned earlier that sometimes pieces of the puzzle that are outside of your control, whether it be putting the financials together, tax returns, etc., you can only ask so many times.
Right.
If the person that's trying to put the package together on their end, they got to get that information to you.
Right.
But once they do, as you've indicated, you're not in a situation where you have to lead on clients, because if there's something that's going to come to fruition, you can get it from A to B with the local decision making.
Yeah, a quick yes is just as good as a quick no. I mean, we have to...
I would agree with that.
I mean, sometimes for whatever reason, it's just the deal's not there. And we have to take a pass, or it's in an industry that, we're either over-concentrated, we don't have room to do those types of deals because of concentration limits, or it's just something that, maybe trends are saying we want to steer clear of a specific industry or specific deal at this time. So...
Well, and you'd indicated earlier that being a part of the 20 under 40 and that type of recognition and the networking, you also have been a prominent part of being on the board of Spokane Hoop Fest.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Hoop Fest, a big deal in Spokane for a long, long time, massive following not only in Spokane but throughout the nation.
Sure.
And starting tomorrow, I think you're flying down to Vegas to participate in discussions and admin for the 3-on-3 tournament down there. Yep.
So I kind of grew up with Hoop Fest. My dad was one of the founding board members.
That's right.
So I've literally grown up with Hoop Fest, starting, volunteering when I was 4.5 years old. So
takes you back.
It's gone quick.
Let's take a short break and come right back and talk a little bit more about Hoop Fest and the just different pieces of the puzzle here in the Spokane community. Thanks, Adam. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Larry Myers, owner of River Ridge Hardware. Welcome to our garden center here on the corner of Garland and Driscoll. We have fresh plants that come in weekly from all of our local growers. We can make your garden look like our garden. Here at River Ridge, we've been here 30 years. We're your full-service neighborhood hardware store. This is our sprinkler aisle, where my knowledgeable staff will help you put together your sprinkler system so it will make your yard lush green for the spring and summer. This is River Ridge Hardware's rental center, where we provide a multitude of equipment for rent for the do-it-yourselfer. Next time you're working on your home or yard this spring and summer, stop by, say hi, and we'll help you get the project done.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Well, hello there, Internet. My name is Braden Magruder, and I'm just coming out of the Spokane Talks building, and I'm excited to bring to you guys a new announcement that I am going to be the new host of the Youth Spotlight program. Now, our old host, Colin, he's off to Texas Christian University to pursue a degree in theater and broadcasting, and you know what? That's great for him, but that's what I like to call adulting. And you know, I don't think that we have time for adulting with the Youth Spotlight program. What the Youth Spotlight program is here to do is to bring to you guys news, the greatest news of some of the most amazing people here throughout Spokane that are, just going in high school, maybe about to go into college, you know. These people are achieving life's dreams and they are so young, and I think that these are stories that you guys should know about. And I'm so excited to be bringing them to you. Now, I'm a Spokane native myself. I've been performing throughout Spokane in various different shows. I just closed the show of Music Man, and you know, I guess I like long walks on the beach, keeping my business attire, while also keeping my French fry socks on close at hand. You know, it's going to be a great year, and I'm so excited to be your guys' host. So tune into Youth Spotlight to watch me interview some of the most amazing people. Thank you and have a great day.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
I'm Jade Becker, and I'm a senior at Chewelah High School. I'm at STCU's Money Live event. In this scenario that we played today, I was a realtor. My spouse was a city worker. We had an 11-month-old child, and there was a lot of spending for that child, like diapers and formula, and had to buy toys and clothing. I'm very glad that I had this experience. It was super helpful. You need this to get far and ahead in life. I'm Jade Becker, and STCU is here for good.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeice Wheeler Attorneys. McNeice Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeice Wheeler Attorneys.
Welcome back to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeice, and we're here in the studio with Adam Jackson, professional and commercial banker at Mountain West Bank. And there were some technical difficulties at the very beginning, so I think we might have missed Adam's initial introduction, but we are fortunate to have Adam here in the studio talking about commercial banking and the professional environment and the market here in Spokane. Yeah. When we just left for break, though, we were talking about your long-term involvement in Hoop Fest. Not only your dad being one of the original board members and founders. Yep. So how is that experience? Not only, I think you said you were 4 years old when he was a part of that, and now you're on the board, and now you're traveling to Las Vegas tomorrow to participate.
Absolutely.
Tell me more about your participation in Hoop Fest.
So, I started off obviously at 4 years old, kind of tailing my dad and learning the ropes, if you will. I've done everything from stuffing packets in the office the week before to riding on the trucks and dropping pads and garbage cans and chairs and tables and everything throughout the whole event. And then a few years ago, I had an opportunity to increase my role with the organization and was asked to join the operating committee, which is kind of a layer below the actual board, and become a year-round volunteer. There's a group of us that meet throughout the year and kind of take on different responsibilities and ownership in different areas of the event. And so had the opportunity to do that. and have just really tried to take ownership. So I'm in charge of all of the contests and activities that happen throughout the weekend and leading up to it. So we have the Toyota shoot-off is kind of the big
it's a lot of fun.
The big event during the weekend where Toyota the dealership our dealers donate a car and we get to give that away. So that's a lot of fun. But we have a free throw challenge for kids because they can't win the car. And then we just started we brought on a 3-point competition this year. We've had the family fun zone in the past for the little guys that aren't old enough to play, but we do the inflatables, and we've done that in the past. And because of space restrictions and with the park construction, we've had to kind of go away from that. But so that's been my ownership. I've had the opportunity to kind of put my hands on and fingertips on some of this stuff and really own it. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, and there's so many strategic aspects to Hoop Fest, as you indicated back when you were 4.5 years old and trailing your dad and setting up at the respective courts. Just a massive exponential increase in the size of Hoop Fest from the beginning to now.
Right.
So this being on board from a year-long basis, the strategic aspect, it just must be basically monumental in terms of what you're trying to figure out what to do.
The level of where we have to be. I mean, I would say we are the best basketball weekend on earth, and to pull off what we do, it truly takes an army of individuals. So the board, they do a great job of kind of giving direction and saying, here's where we want to see the event, or maybe move towards different opportunities. But Matt Santangelo and the staff do. I mean, they're so tremendous. What the support that they give all of us volunteers to do our respective roles and carry out those specific tasks. So it's pretty incredible. And then you kind of look back, and I mean, we don't get to. We don't see it because we've always just kind of done it that way.
Right.
And it's like, this is what we do.
Although I have talked to Matt a bit about this as well, and I'm fascinated with the psychology when you said it's the best basketball weekend on the planet, or that actually statistically is played out to be true. It isn't just an advertising puffing saying we're one of the best basketball tournaments. Interestingly, and I think you guys have indicated, both Matt and yourself, that it's played out that other very large markets, very large towns, have tried to duplicate it.
Yeah.
And for some unbeknownst reason, it really hasn't been duplicated yet.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
I think Spokane's a pretty special place, and the community involvement. When it's kind of at a loss for words. Honestly, it's pretty amazing how we're able to ingrain ourselves in the community, and I think giving back and that helps a lot, and you get this momentum that has just built for, we're going into our 30th year.
Is it the 30th year?
Yeah. Wow. And so, but to your point, there's been other tournaments. There's a tournament in, Los Angeles, and it's been tried to be duplicated all over the country.
One of the biggest marketing markets in the country, whether it be New York City or Los Angeles.
Right. And they aren't able to do what we do, to get consistently over 6,000 teams, to bring
massive loyalty.
Yeah. 250,000 people to downtown Spokane, and millions of dollars of economic impact, and people circle it on the calendar, year after year after year, and the hotels book up years in advance for that weekend, and until you actually come and see it and be a part of it, you don't understand.
And Adam, I think there's a lot to be said for that you can talk about it, but until you feel the vibe of walking down Main Street or Spokane Falls Boulevard and realize the magnitude of the amount of people. And for me, and I think what we're talking about today, from an infrastructure standpoint, a strategic operational standpoint, that's actually mesmerizing, because how you guys facilitate right down to the porta potties for crying out loud. There's so many pieces to this puzzle, and year after year, you put on a great show.
It's pretty well orchestrated.
So, in Las Vegas, tell me how, we've been talking about can other cities duplicate this.
Yeah.
So Spokane Hoop Fest is, tell me how that's working in terms of assisting and admitting, trying to pull this off in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so the MGM, MGM Resorts International reached out to Matt and the staff at in the office and said, hey, we want to try to do this. We want to run a tournament. And so, over the past few years, we've gone down to help to bring our knowledge and our expertise to help them pull off this tournament down there. So, it's not as big. I think the last time I saw any type of numbers, it was a couple weeks ago, but it was about 500 teams. 500
teams, and what was summer of 2018 here?
We were 6,400 teams. So
unbelievable.
And yeah, you're looking at Las Vegas. There's 100 things to do, on any given day. So
yeah.
I think that maybe is part of it. Where not that Spokane's a sleepy little town anymore, but we've built this massive loyalty, and so other cities and other markets are recognizing that and saying, hey, we want to do the same thing. You're the best at what you do.
Help us out. And circling that back, actually, you as a professional commercial banker here in Spokane, obviously your talents and the resources that you bring to the table in Hoop Fest is, in fact, what you're doing a good job of here in Spokane, the banking world, which is, as we indicated, has been recognized as one of the 20 under 40. What is, in our last couple minutes here, in terms of the kind of the temperature of our market in the banking world? Rates there's this idea of rates going up. How's that affecting our particular market right now?
As I mentioned before, we are a very competitive marketplace. There's a lot of banks, a lot of people out there vying for the same piece of business. I was actually looking at where rates have been kind of come over the last year or so, and we're about 100 basis points higher right now than we were a year ago. So for a lot of factors, but the economy keeps chugging along and we keep staying strong, but with that, rates are going up. And
with the Fed potentially bumping that up a bit, do you feel like that'll stabilize in the Spokane market?
Yeah,
what type of effect do you see?
I think we're still going to see a little bit of an increase.
Okay.
Those definitely make for some interesting conversations with customers and potential customers, because we've been at such historic lows for the past few years.
Right.
I mean, to get cheap money at 4% those days are gone.
Right.
But it wasn't that long ago when that was kind of the going rate.
Yeah, and we were seeing some of these similar as the economy was on fire, so to speak, and latter part of 2000s. So it'll be interesting to see, not only in banking and other areas, where some of these aspects of the economy prove to be. Well, Adam, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here in the studio today. The fact that you've been focusing on dental, medical professionals of all types, I think, as you've indicated, this is a good market to make those connections. You've done that, and I look forward to seeing where you're going to go with this in the future. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.